Well, here we have the frame of the charger seat, this VJ Charger we're about to install. We're showing you where the top of the listing wires in these seats go. So these little holes at the top of your frame are where you actually want to attach the very top of that listing wire. So when you look at your covers, you'll see, and we'll show you a few times in this video I believe, that the listing pockets actually are a little bit wider at the top. What happens there is we actually pull out, if you can imagine those long vertical pleats, they can tend to pucker a little bit, so the very top of that listing is actually pulled out and then anchored to those holes. I'm not sure which one, but whichever one you can easily get to. In the frame, not on the spring. So most of the listing wire sticks gets hovering to the seat springs, but up the top here you just make sure you get it onto the frame. Now we'll show you later when we're installing it. This video is a quick little clip we took before. Obviously there's a bit of foam that sits around the seat frames as well, which you'll know if you've been on your old seat. And the foam kit's sitting on the frame when we're doing it, so you can't quite easily see these, but it's important to know. Anyway, we're back to the start of the install now. We'll come back to that bit we'll just talk about in a minute. Right now we're just focusing on looking at preparing the cover to go onto the frame. So I think we're going to show you where the listing wires go in. Obviously there's three wires in these backrests. These long ones run up the length, and there's one at the top at the bottom of the headrest piece. So we'll focus on that. Those bits I'm just showing you there, pulling out, you can see how the listing pockets are a bit wider at the top, and that's to facilitate the pockets stretching out to those holes in the frame we were just looking at, and giving you the look that you want. So that's what we do. We're just showing you here how they go in, and we won't put these in until after we've got the top listing wire down. So we'll do that soon, and we'll just slowly go through in this video and show you how. I'll try to explain what we're doing as we're doing it, and hopefully you understand. Now what are we showing you there? We're showing you that it's really important to have everything centered. So you want to center your foam on the frame, and the frame, there's the 3 metal lugs where your top listings go down, and at the bottom there's actually a mark in the frame to show you. So as long as you get your foam centered on the frame, you get your cover centered on the foam, and everything should go together straight. So this is where you start from. You start at that top listing pocket, and we get that down. So we've worked out a center point. There's a little notch in the cover as well, which will guide you to where the center point of the cover is. I've marked on here with a whiteboard marker. You don't need to, and again, be careful marking on foam. Don't use a Sharpie if you're doing anything, just whiteboard marker only. Especially if you're using light coloured seat skins, don't put any ink on it. So we've got this center point down. What we're going to do, we're going to put a zip tie through from the top. We're going to loop a zip tie around the middle lug at that top, for the top listing pocket. So we're grabbing a zip tie now, and we'll put that in. It takes a little bit of time. I think in this video I get it the first time, but often this is a fiddly thing. You just got to work out your own way of getting it on. But I'm bending the end of the zip tie around and making it go. The other thing to tell you about now, and I haven't shown it on this video, but before we did this, when you get your foam, everything's glued down at the back with a layer of hessian. So you need to put 3 cuts. One, you see where my fingers are going in there at the moment for the to be able to reach the lug in the frame, and another 2 at each corner there. So you put 1 cut. Each one's about maybe 3 centimeters, 30 millimeters long. One's right in the middle, that's easy, and the other 2 are literally around the apex of that corner where it goes, and you can feel as well. So what you could do is you put your foam over the seat, make sure that it's lined up with the frame underneath, which you can do by feeling down and feeling for those metal lugs, and then put your cuts in. So that, don't cut too much, just 20-30 mils for each one of those 3, so that you you can access the lug below it. So you need to do that to get the zip tie down, and you need to do that to get the hog rings down as well. And again, just to reiterate, zip ties are not a long-term thing, so don't install your seats, get them looking all sweet with zip ties and think that that's good, because you've got to realise that they'll probably break and they won't last that long. So just use them for installing, and then we go around and take them out and replace them once we've got the things down with hog rings. So we've got the first one in. It's a time consuming process. I find you only do it once. You can do these without zip ties at all if you want to. If you really are good and you can just hog ring straight down the middle with a hog ring to start with. I don't recommend you do it. I can do it, but I still usually don't. It's just easier this way to get everything lined up. It's slower, and you also get some help from that zip tie pull. What we do, you'll see we do it here, we pull the covers down, we're checking the alignment as we go in, and we get this middle zip tied down, and that it actually helps us push the others down, because they're quite, the foam's quite bouncy. It's quite a bit of compression, and when you've only got two hands and you're trying to get a hog ring in, it just helps a bit to have that already pulled down. So that's how I do it, and I hope that would help you find it a bit easier. So we just tighten that middle one down. Really straightforward, but important to get right here, important to get centered. If you're off when you put this one in, undo your hog ring or your zip tie and get it straight at this point. It's very important to be centered, because even if you're only off a few millimeters at the top here, it can set you up, especially on any seat. You want to be as good as you can. But these have got these long vertical pleats, so you've got all, how many pleats you got? 1, 2, 3, 5 pleats. You've got to line them all up, have them matching. It helps to be in the middle here, so that you're in the middle down the bottom, and that goes to the foam and the covers. Center them now, and you'll find that everything else will be very easy to line up later at the end. You don't want to be putting your cushion on the backrest and just struggling because everything's not quite lining up and it doesn't look right. So that's one little tip. It's just it's pretty easy to do. So what we've done here anyway, we've got you see I'm being helped out by that zip tie that's already held the middle down. So we go in and we get the side ones in. And this is why you need that little cut, because you can't really get the hog ring through and locate the middle lug unless you've cut some of that hessian out of the way to get in and do it. So take your time with this. It's better to go slow. I mean, I say that right as we speed the video up, but it's good to go slow here and get it right. If you take multiple attempts, one thing to watch out for is if you do it too many times, you can make your listing pockets very tatty. It's okay to miss a few times, like you probably will. I still do now. I really, sometimes really struggle to get the hog rings in. It's just something that happens. So if you miss once, it's okay. Cut the hog ring out, get out of the seat, and do it again. So yeah, what we've seen with us done there too, we removed the zip tie because we're not going to leave that in. So we've now got 3 hog rings in at the top. That's sort of set us up now. So that's your datum. That's where everything else is getting its alignment from. The cover is centered and it's lined up at the top of the frame, as is the foam. So as long as we follow through with that and we put down everything straight, it will end up being a good looking seat. So it's a process now. We're going to show you how it all comes together. It's I think this video is quite a video. It's quite a watch. It's close on an hour of watching this. I've made it as sort of fast as I can. What you can do though, if you haven't seen it first, is we've put a full fast motion version of this same video up, so you can watch that, and I recommend you do that, and we'll show you. Like this part here, I know from memory, I think it'll take quite a while to put this listing wire in, but I'm leaving it here to show you though. Like you just gotta suck it up and all these little fiddly things. it just is what you do. You take your time and you get them worked out here. So from memory, I think this, this wire here is getting stuck up at the top of that listing pocket, but it's very important to get the wire to come all the way to the top of the listing pocket, because that's where we get the hog ring on to pull the top corners of those pleats out and make the top of the pleats have no puckers and look nice and tight. So this part here, just deal with it. Like what happens, it gets thin in the middle, and you just gotta guide it round, and sometimes they just go straight in. But whatever happened here that day, I can't remember now. It was a few months ago when I actually filmed this. Yeah. So there we go. You look at me. I'm just going, what's going on? Put my glasses on so I can see, and we're getting it worked out. So once you do this, you understand these little bits happen. It could be here, it could be that one we've just done. That top listing wire and pocket is, to me, that's usually the hardest part of these seats. It's just getting that right. I'll tell you what, not on VH and VJ, but on VK, it's a heck of a tough job to put the top listing down, because the way the lug is in the frame, it's just in a really hard spot to get. Anyway, we've done it, and we cut it out of that video, and now where we're at is sitting here with both of those listing wires in the pockets, and the seat's about ready to have a whole bunch of zip ties temporarily put through from the back to the front, where we will, with those, we'll pull the seat skin down in the right place, and we'll do it with zip ties so it's nice and slow, and we've got a chance to make sure everything's lined up. Like with zip ties, you pull them in slowly. You can get them in. Like if you're in a mad rush, you could use, like I've got an air hog ring gun. You could race around and hog ring everything down really fast, but the chances of that all being lined up where you want it, it's pretty hard to do. So this way you go slow. I think what we're trying to show you here too, I'm going on about probably pulling down the cover. So it's pretty important too, at this stage, before you put anything down and before you've put any zip ties through, you want to keep pulling that cover down. So you just want to make sure that the cover is down to where it should be, and that you haven't left any slack in it. Because if you let's say you left it loose and you put a zip tie through and then you pull it down, you'd sort of be committing to keeping everything a bit slack, because the anchor would hold the slackness into the covers. So really just be mindful of that too. So at this stage, before anything's pulled down, you want to know there's a little precaution of always making sure the cover is pulled down. So normally what we do, pull it down a few times, and I actually put some clips over the back. So we'll show you that. I'm pretty sure we'll show you that soon on the film. It means that before you put any of these wires down, they're pulled in. At this point too, also, that bit I just showed you was the wide part at the top of that listing pocket, and we'll get onto that shortly as well. We're going to do that after the zip ties go in. So we're going to, if you can see now, can you see that little pucker at the top of the pleat at the very top? That's the thing that's the reason why we do that pull at the top. We want to pull that pucker out of the seat. So the wider part at the top of the listing wire, where I'm pointing to there, what that does is it just gently tugs the top corner here out and inwards, sort of like almost dives under the foam at the top, and that will give you that nice look. So and here we are, we've now cut to a video of the back of the seat, and this is just really showing you how I go through and put the zip ties through, and I know you all know how to do this. It's really quite easy, but it's just to show you what's going on. So it's one hand on the front of the seat, so I'm feeling where the gap is. There's the gap between the middle bit of foam and the side bolsters. We're feeling where that is with my left hand, and open up the hessian a little bit with that needle. It's called a regulator, but just like some nice useful needle, knitting needle, whatever you got that's going to do the job. Open up the weave in that, maybe every 3 waves. So that's probably a good number. Every 3 waves in that spring. So you got your serpentine spring, every 3rd wave in that, maybe open it up 3rd, 4th. What I do, I think every 3rd as well. I think you'll be good with that. Go through, push your zip ties through, so they're going to be sticking up the other side, ready to be used. And that's really the name of the game. And this is this method just lets you slowly come down, and it's going to mean that even if something's if you make a mistake here, if you get something a bit crooked, all you do is you cut a zip tie off, and you come back and you push it through again, and it's a safer way. And overall, and I've done lots of charger seats. I still do this when I do a job for somebody. I don't race through and I'll pull everything down by hand and hog ring. I still use zip ties. And I can do these seats without the hog rings, but this is an easier way to do it. Anyway, we're back here with I don't say without the hog rings, without the zip ties. We definitely always use hog rings. What was showing you now, I think, was the seat. We've just put those zip ties back, through the back, and we're coming now. Again, talking about checking everything, making sure your alignment is bang on before you do it, and making sure the cover is pulled down to the right place before you attach these zip ties. And we're going to do that. What's he doing now? He's probably telling you the same thing I'm saying right now. So we pull this down. I think we're going to probably put a clip on here soon. I would imagine that's what's going on next, but we're just pulling it down and checking where everything goes. And there we have some clips. That's what we are going to do. We're going to put some clips in, and then pretty much probably put it onto fast speed, I'm hoping, and go and put those zip ties in the seat skins and keep on moving. So yeah, really checking that the cover's centered is what I'm doing here, and I'm at that point pulling on that middle section, and we're just using this couple of clips to hold it while it's being held down nice and taut, which is where we want it to be once it's installed. And by doing that, it means we're going to put the zip ties through at appropriate places to pull them down, and that's going to give us a good result. So that's the game. That's what we're doing, and give that a quick little check. Keep checking. If you have to check this over and over again, it's well worth doing, because you're gonna spend an extra. It doesn't matter how long you spend on this, you'll get it done. Now, what I'm showing here, I'm using I'm using something small and sharp. It's my little set of snips, because at the end of it's I find quite useful for spiking holes in these listing pockets. Now you can figure out your own thing here. All it says, be really careful doing it. If you're using something sharp around your seat skins, be really careful that you don't cut through. Don't use some big long crazy blade, or don't go grab something really sharp either, because then something accidental, like a little sharp blade is going to have the potential, if you slip, to cut your seat skin. So try not to. Maybe the end of a short pair of scissors, or you just I don't know, this is up to you to work out, but I use these little snips. I find them really good. I just close the blades and poke them through the listing pocket, and it gives me a little just the right size hole for that zip tie to go through. And then I can do that. You got to use something. Then what I'm doing here, just poking the zip tie through, and then clearing a little hole in the Hessian backing, so that I can poke it back through the other side for doing it later on. And then you understand that's not a hard thing to do. This is easy, and that's why we put it into fast. So you go through. This will take a while, but it's a reasonably easy process to get your seat skins on. So we're doing that. We keep checking. Like you just saw me give the seat a bit of a check and a rub, like just to make sure that the pleats are still in the right place, and they will be, because those clamps are on. But it's good to keep checking. And that's it. We just go through, hold in listing pocket for get that zip tie through. And you can kind of see now, if you'll be able to envision how this goes now. So what we've got is the listing wires, the long ones, are now ready to be pulled in to the springs with the zip ties. So we'll lift over the back here, and you can see where we're at now. We've got those ready to come down. Now we haven't done the very bottom of the spring with the zip ties. I find you can, by all means, if you want to, you can. I find I don't. You can get your hand in at the bottom and actually grab the bottom of the listing wire and hold it up to attach a hog ring and at the bottom of those springs. So, but what we do now is we go through, we sort of half tighten. You know, don't let it is super tight, but you get them. Yeah, you'll get a feel for it. You know, you can do it mostly tight up here, and then we can flip the seat over. You can also, at this point now, you know you've got your ankles and you don't need those clips for the time being. What I like to do, and another reason why I prefer using the zip ties first method, is it gives you a chance to check that the listing wire is coming down exactly where you want, so you don't have it going like over the top of the foam in the wrong place or something, and if you just like heave-hoed and made hog rings get in there for the first, you know, without having this preliminary step of zip ties, you have that chance that you get it wrong. It's you know, easier. So we'll check there that the listing pocket is down where we like, and that means we can come back and actually make the zip ties quite tight. So you can usually, at this point, you can usually get the zip ties tight enough to be able to actually feel them through the back of the Hessian, which is a good place to be. It means that you're going to be able to easily get the hog rings on from behind. So these long listing wires, for the bulk of them, we put them on from the back here, but the very top, they actually go on from the front, and I'll show you that really soon. I think we're going to do that part, because that should be coming up next once I get all these listing wires tight and how we want, and that's that. So you can see now as we come over, it's going to start to look a bit more familiar, like a backrest of one of these seats should. Now I've come over to this is the part that we just mentioned. We're putting the top on. So we're going up, and this one we filmed with a camera that's on a tripod looking down. The other one we actually grabbed another handheld camera and tried to get you more up close doing it. So what I'm doing here, I'm locating that little hole in the frame that we showed you at the start of the video. So you can see my regulator is giving us an indicator of whereabouts that is. So it's actually under the foam, and it will be on yours too. It'll be sitting under this foam. So what you do is you'll locate that, load up your hog ring, and then you'll I usually pre-spike a little hole into that listing pocket as well, so it helps get on. So you do this. Now this is tricky. You can take a few goes at getting this right, and it will probably be, it could be a little bit frustrating because you can't actually see until you pull the foam back. So you see I'm pulling the foam back quite far. I think I was trying to show the camera as well, but you can't really see. And then what we've done is we've got one end of that hog ring, and I'm going, hang on, it's not working. I need to make another hole. I think now I'm probably putting the hole into the listing pocket. So what I want to do is I want to get one end of the hog ring. I don't know which way you do it, but and I think it can be one or the other, but you want to get one end of that hog ring over one side. So you get one over, let's say, the listing pocket, and then you'll try and carefully bring that hog ring in, let it slip over and get attached to the hole in the frame, and then you'll want to do it up. And it's not actually easy. This is a little bit tricky. Give yourself, you might go through a few hog rings doing this, but see, I've got that in now. I've got it over both pieces, and then you can pull it together, and that hog ring closes, it tightens up, and at the same time that has tightened the top of that plate, and it's removed that little pucker that you get at the top of a VJ backrest. So that's the trick to make those look good at the top, and I hope you can see there's no pucker there now. Now we get a better view of this in a moment, because we're going to cut to a handheld camera and show you that in a little bit more detail in a moment. We'll put a hog ring in here, and then you also probably from the top you also get another hog ring just down a little bit, and again just be be careful with where you get to. You'll probably find you can just get to the top of the spring there. But anyway, back to this. This is the closer up version. So we're going to the other side now. Now that's that listing pocket that we're talking about. You see how it gets wider as it gets up. And again, I've said it a few times, but it's important. You want to be grabbing that top of the listing pocket here. And we'll have a go. I know we don't quite get a perfect camera angle because I tend to keep putting my arms and my hands in the way of it, but we're trying really hard to capture this for you. Now underneath here, right underneath, almost underneath where those two pieces join, so the headrest piece joins onto the side bolster bit of foam, right? Almost underneath there, you'll find one of those holes, those two holes in the frame. It doesn't really matter which one. I honestly, I think I probably normally go for the bottommost one of them, but that's going to be the easy one to reach. Now, you want to get into there. You also want to use your needle, your regulator, to poke a hole to help you get through the listing pocket. So figure out where you want to do that. Now, I'm taking my guess. That's about where I want to go here. I think actually. So that's the sort of thing you want to do here. So this is going to make it a little bit easier. You don't necessarily have to do it this way. And then you want to get your hog ring to come in. Now I think I stopped because I realised you couldn't see anything other than my arm. Now I'm sorry about this, you can't see much, but we're doing our best to show you. This is, I think I'm opening up the hole a little bit more with that regulator. It's a tricky one to do. It is. I find it's important to make it as easy for yourself as you can here. So if you can pre-punch those holes in those pockets, that's great. And what I do here, I believe we've got the one side of the hog ring is slipped into the hole in the listing pocket, and then I try and slide the pliers without closing the pliers, slide them over and locate the hole in the frame. Now I know I've got them there now. It's time to. I'm using two hands because it's pretty tough. You squeeze it in, and as that happens, it actually pulls the top of the pleat in, and that's the result that we're after here. So when we roll this back now, you see what we've done. We've tightened those pleats out, and those puckers that were there before are not there anymore. So that gives you that top corner inside of the pleats that helps you get that looking really nice and down. And that's the way to do it. Now you want to put another hog ring each on each side to the edge of the springs, okay? And you just got to carefully go and locate those with your needle, your regulator, whatever, and get it down. I think I'm doing that here. I'll put it back into fast, and we've done it. Okay, sorry if you saw that. That was some very, very fast videoing, and we've done that bit now. That's all over. I hope you understood what we did there. We're talking about here I'm just putting a bit of batting down over the glue line. Now you don't have to do this. Don't worry if you haven't got batting. If you're putting leather seat skins on, I would say it's really important. These Novatex vinyl, look, they're actually good thickness vinyl. You'd be quite safe putting our black seat skins over the foam without batting here, and it will barely show. You won't feel it. I'm just doing it because I don't even know why. I'm just doing it because it's a habit, right? So I put some batting on, so I know that you can't feel the glue line. If you have some, go for it. If you don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. I think we're just talking about how we've already got those hog rings down. And this part is really the big wrestle. This is the one that you're going to take a few hours to do this, I would say. And if you do it in stages, it's okay. Like this is I find it hard work. I get sore hands from doing this, so don't go thinking that this is easy and that you can just get this one peeled out, in an hour or whatever. It's not. So I do this for a business, and I still would limit myself to one of these a day. I wouldn't go any more, or I know I'm gonna just get sore hands or a sore back or whatever. So yeah, so we'll see now. Now the thing with these, what am I showing you here? I think I'm just trying to explain that the one side of these bits, because the charger seats have got a cable operated hook, so that very bottom panel on the hook side is later on we're going to have to carefully cut out a little bit of that so that the cable's got somewhere to run. We'll get to that soon. Now what we're doing here is we're just starting it going. So these are not, they're not even all that easy to explain what you do here. This is more like something that is, it's almost vague. What you do, you kind of do, you do one side at a time, and you do a bit of the top and a bit of the bottom, and you do it over and over again. It's not like, oh, you put the bottom down and then you put the top down. It's like you do a bit of the top, bit of the bottom. One thing here, as we're doing this part here, and we're getting the top over, it's really important to understand that you could tear the seat skins at the intersection where that kind of top hood piece goes on. So as I'm doing this now, and when you do it, you got to remember that you can press hard into the foam and actually squish it down a lot to get the room to roll the skin over. But as you are doing that, you want to brace that intersection here with one hand, just while it's making the transition, as that cover is flipping around, going from inside out to the right way around. Don't let that be on its own and get too much stress, because that could tear. So that's something to watch out for. There's just that little seam at the inside of the top hood is a point that you definitely got to be mindful of when you're installing that. Once it's over, you're fine. So you see I'm still kind of holding one hand around it to take the tension off it, and it's already gone around now, so it's okay. It's sitting back over the foam. Now this thing here, we've put it into fast for a bit, so this video's got a bit of sped up video, because otherwise it's just going to be far too long. Again, maybe watch the whole thing on the fast version first to get an idea of what happens here, because it's a way easier way to watch. But it's gradual. So in reality, this is an hour or two of this process of wrestling the seat skin over little by little, and that's the way that you do it. If you have a better way, please by all means let me know, because I would love it, but I've never found a way to make these look good other than slowly getting them over, and that appears to be the way that you do it. So you can see how baggy that is here. We've got tons and tons of slack. Now the task at hand is we've got to get all those wrinkles out, and we've got to get the outside of the skin down to the right places on the back of the seat where we attach it with hog rings to the frame. There's obviously a lot of movement got to happen. We've got to bring at the top, we've got to bring the seat skin over more, which is up at the top and then down at the back. At the front, we've got to bring it out towards the sides and then slide it down to the bottom. But as you'll see when you watch this works. So we do it this way. Eventually, after a lot of what I call gathers, like what you want is you want to gather up the slack. You might see people that work on sheet metal a lot. They'll talk about taking a gather. Like they'll gather up stuff and then they'll shrink it out or something. And it's not the same, but it's a similar concept. We're trying to take what we're trying to do here is take the loose stuff out and slide the cover over. So we've been doing that, and we're getting better. You can see at this point in the video it's starting to look a bit more bit tighter. Still got a way to go. Now I think it's come time where I've said it's time to put that cut for the cable that runs that hook for the flipping forward. So what we do is we grab we've got a marker and a little pair of snips. So with these, go carefully here, and your first one, on all of them, go really careful. So you're just trying to work out, and I've got an idea because I've done a few, but just be really careful. Even look at your old seat skin if you've got them, and try and understand where the cut went and how it's going to go into the new one. So I'll do a little mark first, just to go slowly, and cut only a little bit. Cut, even if you come back several times, come back as you get in the skin over to cut a bit more. That's a safer way than to just take one great big cut out at the start and maybe get it wrong. So you can see we've only done a little cut here. You can see we need to do a bit more, so we're doing doing it the right way, doing a mark and then a cut, just checking everything as we go. And there you go. And if you need glasses, put your glasses on, because then you can see it properly. So we're doing that. We've got a bit now. There will be a bit more that needs to be cut from that, but that lets you get a start. And the seat skins are made in such a way that when they are installed properly, they will go to all the right places that you need them to go to. So you will find, after a time, after a lot of this sort of work, basically, massaging and pulling the slack out, getting the thing down, and you just keep doing it. You keep bringing that skin down the frame, which is a lot better in fast motion. Here we go, we're bringing it down, we're pulling, we're gathering up slack, and we're rolling those wrinkles out to the edges of the cover and off and getting rid of them. So that's how we're doing it. Now you'll find eventually that the skin will get to where it wants to be at the bottom corner. Still a way off, but we're going to get there. We'll use some clips to help us, because they're really good actually, because the clips, they stop you losing where you've got. The last thing you want to do is pull a bunch of slack, pull a bunch of bagginess out of the skin and then lose it, because your seat skin slips back over the foam. So we keep going. Once we get this near, I think soon, I'm hoping soon, there we go, there's a clip. So we're going to hold it here. Don't use a hog ring yet, because you're still going to move it a bit down most probably, but this at least gets us to have an anchor, so that we know, hang on, we can start looking at where we're at. And you can often feel like you can get a look, you can look at the wrinkles, and you can replicate and get an understanding of which way they've got to go. And that's what you do here. So you've got to just keep doing this sort of thing, just keep pulling them out and take it all the way out to the edge. So you roll it right around and over and over again. Now I've come back here briefly as I realised I need to cut more out from that cable cutout and missed the camera, but you just be really careful doing this yourself and you'll be fine. As long as you just keep your wits about you and don't go all crazy with your scissors, you'll be good. Now coming down, we can keep pulling down, and you'll see eventually that the seat skin will make it over that little plate. There's a little flat welded on plate, which is where the backboard clips go. The seat skin corners on both sides should make it just over that, and it's tight, but they'll make it over that. They don't want to go past that by much, but they want to come just over that at the bottom, so that you can get a hog ring in at the very bottom corner, just past that clip. So we're getting very close to it now, and this is one of the guides. So when you're there, when the skin at the back is over that location, that little place where the backboard goes, you'll find that seam at the bottom is at the right place as well. Now you'll probably, especially if you've gone nice and slow with your cutting here for that cable, you might want to keep making little small cuts to get the cable clear of the cover, and this is a great time to do that. So that's what I'm doing here, and we now know that the cover is down at the bottom. At least on this side, we're down to where we want to be for a good result. So once we know that we're here, and you can see we're just pulling it all around, and we're looking now at, I think we were trying to say, hey, watch out for the cable, and we've just spoken about that, so you already know. And this is sort of the first 2 points that we get a really good anchor on. Once they're at their absolute correct location, is these two corners at the bottom. So once everything's down, we're just still doing it, we're still pulling it over, like it's such a big tight cover, and this is what it is. You get that over, and you can see that's starting to get there now. So by the time that bottom corner's here, you know that you're going to be able to keep making adjustments further up, but this is the right place for it. So shortly, I think we're going to put a couple of hog rings in down there. So we just want to get that over, so we're making sure that the seat skin is coming out to the right spot where that wire is. Now yeah, there we have it. We can hold it there with a clamp briefly, and we'll come back and get it all over the back there, and once we're happy with that, we will finally put in a hog ring, and that's that one's locked in. So yeah, use those bottom corners as a guide. We're still a long way from being fully installed in the seat skin, but this is a good milestone to get to. Okay, once you're here and you've got these coming down at exactly that point, that's the right place to be. So we'll get those in and do that. Now with our skins, we do sew in something that's called twill tape, which is a nylon, it's like a strap, and we just sew it in on a lot of the hog ring points so that it's easy to do this sort of stuff here. So your hog rings go in. If it's just vinyl, it's a little bit weak, and it could, you could have a whole, it's just stronger, that's all. So I'm just saying that because of that, I think you'll find the skins are nice and tough for doing this sort of work with. Now that's in. We've got one side, the hook side is down at the bottom. You can see there's still a bit of tightening to do, but which we'll get to. Just what we're doing now, we're just working out what to do here. Now I think I'm checking the pipe. Now the seam at the back of this pipe, you want to make sure that that's all folded backwards and pointing to the back of the seat frame. Now that's a pretty straightforward thing to do, and you'll have a chance to do that like at about this stage. What we're doing here is we're just trying to get the skin around, tighten up a bit, it removes the puckers, and you just do this. So this sort of stuff we're doing, it's really repetitive, and it's also really important. So that's how to get a good tight look. Just do this over and over and over and over. Now what are we doing? We can get another clamp on. Slowly going around. You can see it just looks better each time. So this is really the process here. I don't even know what to call some of these things. Just massaging, just working. Just keep doing the stuff. It's how it happens, and you get there. You see how the skins are starting to come to the right place with the frame now? You just keep on doing that. So we put a lot of effort into making sure that our foam and our skins are the right size. So trust us, they will come up in the right place. You just got to keep on going. I know you could look at this and go, oh my god, it's so big, how's this ever going to go on? It's just, but it does. It gets there. You can see the cover now is starting to meet the metal, that metal bar rail where it hog rings onto the backrest now. So I think, hog ring, yeah, we'll just put another clamp on. But you do see what I mean, I hope you do, that the cover and the foam are designed for these frames. They will get there. After you do this rather big amount of work, they will get there. If it wasn't this hard to put on, they wouldn't look super. They just wouldn't look so tight, and so this is just what it is. You just got to do the work. Now what are we talking about here? I'm not sure what I'm talking about here, but I'm just trying to show you. I'm not sure what I'm trying to show. I think I'm trying to show you that we've got the listing wires down, and that we're still doing work to bring the seat skins down all around. So we've still got to come back to the other side of the seat and do like those hand gestures are trying to tell you, lots of stretching and pulling and work. We do a bunch of work and we make it go on. So we luckily we've put into fast again, and you can see now we're pulling out the wrinkles on the front face of it, and we're walking them around to the back, and that's done a great job. If only you could turn reality into that sort of speed. Wouldn't that be lovely? But we've got here now the cover starting to get to where we want it to be. There's probably still a bit more movement, but we're well in the ballpark of where you want to be for a good look. So we'll hold it with another clamp, or not. No, it was actually hog ring time, wasn't it? Look at that. So we're going to put a hog ring in here and commit that one's where we want it to be. Yeah, and that's about right too. So you get those two sides, check that they're symmetrical and that they're coming over about the same amount. Now you can, just get that good and tight. And they come down, they don't go much further than that bar in the frame, but they come down just the right amount to get there. And you get them locked in. Now you probably want to get the other one down, so that's what we're doing here. Now this is the button side, so the side with the button bracket, I'm not sure, I think we're talking about it now. The side with the button bracket sits out a little bit further because there's just a little bit of extra something in that seat. Is that button bracket. Later on you cut through that to install the button in the button bracket. So just making sure that we're aware of that now. It's also a good time to check that you're happy with where the button bracket sits. Like I like to make a point of not putting the button bracket right behind the pipe, because this looks nicer. So it's a great chance. Check it there. I'm pretty sure I've already checked that that's there. If not, we will. But you've got a chance again before you fully commit to installing your seat skin. If you check now and that button bracket's not quite right, you've still got that option to take it apart and move it to where you really want it to be. But again, that's up to you, and it's really aesthetic only. Now look at that, something changed. I don't know what happened, but I changed my shirt. I think this was summertime, and we probably had a break and came back. So we're back here, and we're still doing that same job of wrestling the seat skin on and pulling everything around. So we're going to do a bit more of that now. I hope that we put it into fast speed. I think we do, because it's obviously easier to do narration over a sped up video. Here we go now, but we'll show you what we're doing now. We want to just keep on just fussing over it, just taking your time to get little bits smoothed out and wrinkles out and over to the edge, and that's what we're doing. So we'll split that up a bit here, and we're gonna look at that. We're hovering that side on now. That was the side we did the other side before. That one's on now. Just keep on doing this whole walking the wrinkles off the edge, and massage it all, and it starts to really come together. We're now doing it at the very top. So once we've got those sides on, you're doing the same thing at the top. You stay mindful too of that seam allowance, or not seam allowance, the seam that's sitting at the back of the pipe. Make sure it's folded backwards, and we've done that. And now we're just still going through. We've got another side to get down. We're just getting the last little puckers out. And again, I think I'm checking that button location again. So if we've felt that you can feel with your fingertips where the button bracket is. So you can see how, if you can imagine the charger button, it's going to sit here, and that bracket is going to all be screwed, and it's going to sit behind that pipe, and that'll be a nice. I think it'll be a nicer look here than if you had the bracket forward and you had to cut through the pipe. Also, it's not much fun cutting through the pipe and screwing it all down, and just it's a good opportunity to check where everything is again, get it right. If you got to this point, you're like, oh no, my button's wrong. Well, you could take it all off and loosen those screws on that button bracket and straighten up to where you wanted it to be. It's probably worth doing it right. Now we get that around. Now what I'm trying to show you here, you see that little bounce that foam's got there. I'm trying to show you, don't put a hog ring too far up, because when you want to put the backing board back on, if you've held that cover really tight with hog rings here, it's a little bit harder to close that gap. So it's easier to leave a little bit of bounce in the foam, and the cover at that top there might have you have a better look with the backing board. Again, it's the back of a Charger, nobody's probably going to spot it, but it's good to do it right, eh? Now we're just getting these on now. I'm using the air thing just to speed it up a bit, but you don't need one of these pliers. Hog pliers is all you need for installing these seats. That's what you do. You only get one of those if you install a lot of seats. So we've got that down with the edge of the covers down where we like it now. Now we've still got to come through and pull down those listing wires at the back even tighter, okay? So that'll be one of the next steps that we do, is we'll come through and hog ring those long listing wires down, removing the zip ties as well. We'll also get a chance to pull the hog rings in. Like, we haven't got zip ties at the very bottom of those wires, so we'll have a chance now to get all this a bit tighter, and it's just the process. We get this tightened up, looking even sharper. And I think hopefully by now you can start to see the picture of this. You can see now this is a process that will give you a really good looking seat. There's nothing magical here. It's just a slow installation. That's really it. What I say here, I'm not trying to upsell a foam or anything, but I don't think it's possible to get a good result over old foam when your foam is from the 70s. When your foam is 50 years old, you really can't get it looking good. It's going to be worn out, and it's going to be most likely foam that's sat underneath vinyl seat skins for 50 years is really shrunk, because the vinyl covers like to shrink in the sun, and they sort of force the foam down underneath them, and you can't expect to put new seat skins onto old foam and have things look tight. They'll be quite baggy and wrong. So there you go. That's my take on why you should have new foam. Also, it's a lot more comfortable, and if you want to drive your car, you'll be really happy you got new foam. Now, what we're doing here is these bottom ones. I'm holding the bottom of that wire with my left hand and getting it down. Now, I would generally aim for the bottommost hog ring that you put in here is probably in the third wave from the bottom. So what I'm using here, I find sometimes you can't grab that listing wire, so you poke your long nose pliers through and pull it up, and that's a good little tip to get them pesky listing wires if you can't reach them. Now, what we're doing here is we're running through, we're removing the zip ties as we go, and we're hog ringing appropriately, probably every third wave in the spring. It's up to you here. You're better off using more than not enough. So you can, if you want to be extra thorough, you can put a hog ring on every wave in the spring, and well, it's not going anywhere, is it? So you definitely can do that. You don't need to. Probably every third really is what to aim for here. That's plenty. Factory doesn't even do that many. Factory just, there's maybe about 4 hog rings on each side, or 3 or 4, and that's what you do. So really, that's it. We're going through at the bottom here. Just getting that last one pulled up with the long nose pliers is quite helpful sometimes. You don't need to do it every time, but if you can't reach it, just grab it with those pliers. Now that's in. We'll just go through, check everything's tight. As long as you can feel the back of the listing wire with your fingers, as long as you can feel that is next to the springs, you know that's pulled down tight. So that's going to give you a good, as you pull that listing down, it'll tighten up the way that the side bolsters look. It'll tighten up the pleats, and it'll look really good. So we're getting close now. We've still got to pull the pleats down a little bit. So we'll come back and do that. That's probably the next step, because we really haven't got much left to do. We've just got to grab this middle flap. So you see there's 3 flaps here. There's the one in the middle, it's at the bottom of the seat, one in the middle, and there's the 2 little side ones. Now the middle flap can take tension, the side ones do not. Pull hard on them, okay? They install loose, and if you pull hard you can pull some threads out and damage the seat skin. So you don't pull on the side ones, but the bottom one you do, okay? So what we're doing here is we're getting ready to pull these around. And this actually is a tight pull, and what this does is it tightens up that middle section, and pulls any wrinkles out, just gets it to sit where it wants to sit. So check it's centered still. This is a good chance to make sure that everything's still lined up and is central. So you check that. Then I'm putting it on with clips first, which is good. Put it on with clips first so that you have a chance to look at it and just know that what you're doing is right. Now again, this is one of these bits where we put in reinforced nylon backing into our hog ring points so that you don't tear your covers putting them on. So I find that really important. This part here is one of the really tight bits of the covers. It's got a fair bit of tension here, so I like having the backed edges here so that you can put a lot of pressure here, and you can get your hog rings in, and they're going to hold. Now you can see here that's actually a fairly decent tug I'm doing on that to get it up and get it where it wants to be. We reinforced a couple of hog rings here. It's going to make sure that it's got the message and it's going to stay there. Now that's most of what the install is. We're just doing the last little bits and pieces here. Here comes really the end of the tensioned up bit. Now we're putting on the side pieces now, and I think funny story, I was oiling my air tools as you do, and drop down every day you're using it as you're supposed to do, which I do, and I don't know why, but I put some oil at the end of the jaws of that hog ring gun, and for a short period of time it was very well lubricated and it was dropping hog rings everywhere. So when we took this video, it was just after I did that, and that's a lesson that I learned, is don't oil the jaws of your hog ring gun, because then it won't keep hog rings anymore. Anyway, that was a story that you now know, and if you ever have one of these, you're not going to look at that. See, flinging out hog rings like crazy. Look at that again. It's so silly, isn't it? And I filmed it. So that's an explanation. Otherwise you're going to look at me and go, what does this guy use that tool for? It's just dropping hog rings everywhere. It was only doing it for like that day, because that's what happened. Anyway, normally it's fantastic and doesn't drop hog rings everywhere. So there you have it. That's the seat now. So that's mostly installed. In fact, that is installed. If you had any wrinkles after you get to this stage, I would recommend give it a bit of a massage and then leave it in the sun on a sunny afternoon, in summertime anyway, and it basically does a great big heat massage for you and just tightens everything up. I think what happens, you see those little bits at the top here now, often this seat's pretty good, but you can still get tiny puckers left in the corners sometimes, okay? And if you do, don't stress. When I put the foam together, we glue down the rolled edges, okay? So if you apply a little bit of heat, which you can just get from a good sunbake, it actually, what I think happens, I think it releases a little bit of the glue, and as well as that also will shrink the vinyl down a little bit too. And overall, leave it there for a few hours on a sunny afternoon, and you'll come back and you'll find that your seat has been made to look even tighter and better. So that's the tip. At this point now, that seat there, that doesn't need much more. That could just look perfect after a sunbake. So there we have it. That's the seat coming together. I hope it fits all on the camera. There's the cushion that we did in another video, which you can also watch if you've not already watched it. And there's the backrest, and they go together. And that's how to install a VJ Charger seat. Very similar to VH, but a couple of differences in the backrest. So thank you for watching, and I hope that helps you out there, and we'll stop the recording now.